Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. I was only 34 years old and the mother of 3 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was forced to make a decision about my health with few options. After my treatment, I made a commitment to provide help and inspire hope to those affected by breast cancer through early detection, education, and support services. I was fortunate to have resources and support through my journey, but so many facing breast cancer have to overcome the burdens of cost and fear alone. No one should face breast cancer alone. Today, NBCF has provided over 1 million early detection and patient navigation services so that women in need have access to these potentially life-saving resources. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org.
90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Back to Your Family's Health. This is Jeanine Cook-Gerard, and I'm here with my special guest, Kim B. Miller, and she's talking about her book, How to Love Your Kids More Than You Hate That Man. Welcome back, Kim.
Thank you.
So we left talking a little bit about, very interestingly, how to make, I would say, a love place for your children when divorce has occurred, when you are remarried, how to keep the relationship healthy, how to grow your children in an environment where they feel validated, where they feel warmth and loved by all parties involved. So let's just talk a little bit about that. I know that our listening audience, some people have not experienced that kind of thing when you have all parties in agreement and feel comfortable in the relationship and talking and eating. And do you guys have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner together?
We used to. When we were all in the same state, we used to.
But that is not something that is not off the table.
Right.
Okay, so it is that kind of relationship where your children will call their father and call their, now do you call them their stepdad? What do they call your new husband?
They call him by his first name, but when they introduce him, they say, let me make sure I get it right, their biological is daddy, their stepfather is father.
Okay.
This is my father.
This is my father. So what happened with parental rights? Did you go to court? Did you guys decide who, in terms of visiting hours, times, days? How did that work?
Luckily, we didn't have to take it to court. We decided amongst ourselves how we would divide it up, who would get visitation. I got custody of the kids. So that's when it really got key to me that I'm like, okay, I have custody. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to be vengeful with it? Am I going to, play these sort of games? And it's not a game people pick up because they mean to be mean. It's because they're hurting and they're trying to make sure that person feels the hurt that they think that person gave them. And after speaking to so many fathers, there's fathers who have died, unfortunately, and not seen their children. There's fathers who have fight day after day, year after year, and have still not seen their children. There's fathers paying child support who haven't seen their children. There's mothers doing the same thing. It's a lot of pain out there, and for the people doing it and who have done it for years, and unfortunately has even extended to extended family. So now the aunt can't see it. The grandchildren can't see them. If you really want your children to have that healthy relationship with you can't teach hate and limit its use. That's the problem. And people later on have trouble with their kids. What happened to you? What happened? Well, you taught hate. Now that they've grabbed onto hate and they're starting to use it against you, you don't want them to use it. But you can't introduce hate into the relationship and say, you can use it only on this ex-spouse. It doesn't work that way. Kids aren't that, nobody's that great to use hate in a limited use. But once you teach a child hate, they will use it repeatedly and it will grow in ways you don't like.
How is it that you experience infidelity in your relationship and you end it there and don't take it to the next relationship with your now husband? Did you ever have that feeling like, I was hurt in the past? Yes. You better not even think about.
We both did. We had a long talk on that. I'm like, okay, just to be clear, I already been through that, show, so I'm not selling those tickets anymore. So, that was the comment. The old joke was, don't make it to the backyard, But yeah, so we had a lot of conversations about fidelity infidelity and stuff, and he had fidelity issues in a past relationship, so we were keen on that part of it. It was more so how would we go for it as a unit in parenting and making sure that we had whole people, because a lot of children of divorce don't end up whole. Mm-hmm. And they get that feeling of, well, the first parent didn't love me and all those sort of things. And some of it is due to what we tell them. And, you know, parents trying to get kids to take a side. Mm-hmm. You know, so did you love me more? Love is not a contest. Mm-hmm. Just be happy with that person. If your child loves both parents, you got a chance at a whole child growing up with a whole environment intact. If you're teaching your child that one of the parents didn't love you or like you, they start to question themselves. You're trying to make it about that parent was bad, but that's not what the child hears. Mm-hmm. I was bad. There was something about me. If only I had changed. And there's grown people walking around with these same baggage based on that. How did you become so, well, this, it sounds like this is wisdom, right? Did you seek professional help to come to this, or was this something that you already knew? We did. I laugh. We went to counseling. Me and my ex, we went to counseling one day. Actually, one day. We walked in and we sat the guy, and the guy's like, okay, so for order this to work, you have to be willing to let go of your anger. And he went to my husband at the time first. He goes, are you willing to let go of your anger? And he said, yes. And if you could have seen my face, let go of your anger. What are you angry about? I'm the one who's angry. And he came to me, are you willing to let go of your anger? And I said, no. He goes, this is only going to work if you're going to let go. I said, anger is my best friend and she's going nowhere.
Now that doesn't sound like the Kim now. Exactly.
Yeah, it takes a while to get here. But yeah, I was like, no, buddy, no. I'm like, he didn't give me really a time to release it. Let's work through you getting. He just wanted me to instantaneously, day one, not to have any anger. I'm like, that's not realistic.
Right. So you had to, even through the process of ending it with your first husband, mm-hmm. to say that, okay, this is not the way to be.
Yes.
And now your relationship now, mm-hmm. you can say is more based on love or forgiveness.
Yes. Because people understand when you're holding something, you're also holding yourself in that spot, that time, that place. When you think you're like, well, I'm going to I'm going to get that person. I'm not going to be forgiving. Okay, you're not forgiving, but you have to keep your mind in that spot. You have to keep constantly reminding yourself of what took place while you're upset. So you're not moving on either. So while you're holding this person in this place of revenge so you can suit your needs or, think you can ease your pain, which you're not easing, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's just the thought of, well, if that person is hurting too, then two people are hurting. That doesn't make your hurt any less.
I know that there is, as you talk, I can see a growth from the first marriage to the second marriage. And I know that you are a poet, you're a writer, you're an author. Was your writing a means for release?
Definitely.
Of some of the resentment maybe that was in your relationship, your previous relationship.
Definitely. But the strange thing, as a poet, I write all the time. Actually, I could write every day. There's only if I'm not writing, it's just because I say, okay, I have to do something else. Mm-hmm. I only wrote one poem about my ex, and yes, it's not very flattering. It's not a flattering poem, but it is truth. And in poetry, there is truth, and that is a definite release of that. And I think writing is I always call it medicine. And I think it's really releasing, because when you put the words on the paper, it releases it from your shoulders, from your back, from your neck. It's a very releasing, relaxing art form. Mm-hmm.
So this was a part of your healing.
Yes.
As someone who was in a relationship and now going into another relationship, would you recommend that?
Definitely. Write your feelings, write your opinions, write even if it's nasty, you're hating, your truth is your truth. Your feelings are your feelings. And when we don't own them, we can't grow up from them. If you're not saying, I'm angry and I'm hurt because you hurt me, maybe if you sat down and got that part out, the two of you could resolve something. Not going to get it 100% resolved the first time, but that's a start. That's a beginning. But if we never accept, well, I'm happy, I'm good. No, you're not good. Right. And it's okay that you're not good, but then don't drag your kids in so they also are not good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let your pain be your pain.
Yes.
And so you advocate for let my pain be my pain, but when I come out before my children, depending upon the age,
right,
I'm going to speak and talk positive.
Exactly.
And affirmation and love.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm not saying go in and say, if he stole all the money or she took all the food, or I'm not saying for you to make them something they're not. I'm just saying, then you can just say, unfortunately, your mom is not here right now. You don't have to say your mom was a stealing, blah, 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 blah. There's different ways to say it.
Right.
Unfortunately, your mom couldn't be here. And then it's like, okay, mom couldn't be here. But if you make her out to be something horrible, and 2 years ago, you look just like your mom, you and your mom are, then I'm awful. I'm also awful.
Yeah.
Kids are not logical. I keep telling people, when there's even a divorce and you make it clear it wasn't about you, they make it about them. If I didn't need those shoes, if I didn't have to go to practice, they would still be together. So don't assume that they're not internalizing it. And we really set the precedence for the child's self-esteem.
Yes. And how we are and how we frame even their father, mother.
Yes.
This is what sets the child's self-esteem. So outside of your writing, what other recommendations would you give for someone who may be going through in this kind of relationship and need to heal, need to maintain that kind of loving relationship? Is you journaled or wrote? What would you suggest to the listening audience? Anything else?
Definitely be open to the fact that you could be wrong. And in my book, I talk about different ways that women manipulate it so that they're not wrong. The debaters, etc. Be open, number one, to the fact that you could be wrong. Even if you're 100% right and they cheated on you, that doesn't mean that your child has to suffer because of that indiscretion. Because let's be truthful, sometimes it's the woman is the one who had the indiscretion. And if you went to a woman and said you can't have your children because you had an indiscretion, they'd look at you like, I can still be a mother. That was something. Then why can't that father have the same rights? Right. Why can't they have that same, indifference that you're asking for yourself? So I think one is to accept your truth. Two is if you're angry about something, work on that. Maybe it's anger management classes. Maybe it's counseling. Whatever it is you need. And counseling's not a bad word. People look at it like, I'm not crazy. Counseling doesn't mean you're crazy. Counseling means you need something that you need to work through or walk around with someone else who has an indifferent or a different opinion than you. So get counseling if you need to. But do apologize. If you are that person who held back kids, start off with an apology. That will go a long way to the person who you hurt. And to your kids, tell them that truth.
Excellent. So if you had to sum up your book in one word or two words, what would you say to the listening audience?
Love above hate.
Love above hate. How can we get this book?
Well, there's a couple of ways. The easiest way is on my website, which is kimbmiller.com. And there's also, of course, Lulu has it, Amazon, all the natural bookstores have it online.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, Kim. And I know that this is an excellent book. And when you visit Kim's website, you can see some of her poetry. And the names of your other books are?
Yes. One is the poetry books are Poetically Inking, just me, the pen, and the mic. And Christ gave me this pen, so I have to write the truth. And my CD is called My Poetry is Portable, but the Truth Doesn't Move.
All right. Sounds like a wonderful, three wonderful things that we can kind of check out. So we want to thank you, Kim, our guest, for being with us today and talking about your book of love. And we want to thank you, our listening audience, for tuning in to Your Family's Health.
This brings an end to another edition of Your Family's Health. Joan Buckley and Jeanine Cook-Gerard are professors of nursing at Nassau Community College. Your comments are always welcome by email at whpc@ncc.edu. This program was produced in the studios of 90.3 WHPC on the campus of Nassau Community College. Podcasts are available on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker.com. Join us again next week for another edition of Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
The views views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to The Voice.